Hey YouTube, it's Annabelle. So I'm going to be doing a video on circumcision and our choice not to circumcise our son. Okay, so going back quite a few years, when we were trying to get pregnant and things, my daughter is now 2.5, but it took us almost 2 years to get pregnant with her, and we had a loss in there, and my need to prepare and plan and prep and all that kind of stuff started the conversations about parenthood and our parenting decisions, and one of those decisions was circumcision. Now with my daughter, if my daughter had been a boy, which we didn't find out the genders of either of our kids while we were pregnant with them, if we would have had a boy, if my daughter would have been a boy, we would have actually gotten her circumcised. Now, what changed in 2 years is just simply research. We were looking things up, we became more knowledgeable about circumcision, and it is just a choice that we decided that we were not going to do if baby number 2 was a boy. Well, baby number 2 ended up being a boy. Our little man is almost 4.5 months old. And so I wanted to talk about circumcision and our decision and things like that. So we kind of hit just a few websites, and we kind of based our decision off of just those few websites. We went to a Dr. Sears website and a few others talking about circumcision. We watched a few circumcision videos, and after watching the videos, I was even more passionate about not doing it. And basically from the websites and things like that, we did not have any health reasons or health concerns that we would need to circumcise, and we also didn't have any religious reasons. There was no reason that we could think of or come up with to do it. Now, if my daughter had been a boy, we would have gotten her circumcised just for the lack of research, and just because we thought that that was the normal thing, the most common thing to do. Well, after research and finding out that it actually is about half and half, and that we didn't have, again, we didn't have any medical reasons, we didn't have any religious reasons to do it, that since we couldn't come up with a really good reason to do it, we decided not to do it. And that decision has been so far a really good decision. Now, I did get lots and lots of input and comments when I would talk about it from other people. A lot of people said, well, they're not going to look like all the boys in the locker room. They're going to be shunned because they still have their foreskin, or that they're going to get an infection and it's so hard to take care of, and all of that kind of stuff. And after looking at how to take care of a circumcised penis and all the stuff that you had to do, every diaper change and things like that, I was like, wow, that's a lot of work. And if you just leave it alone, that you just clean it like a finger. And that is the best advice that I've gotten off of the internet and from friends that I know that don't have their sons circumcised, is all you do is you just clean it like a finger. You just wipe it off. We've had no problems so far. If you have watched my pregnancy videos with my son, you know that when I was doing the paperwork for the labor and delivery, that I did not fill out the circumcision form, and I wanted a note put in to our file that I didn't, if it was a boy, I did not want him circumcised. And the nurse had actually told me a story about how their son ended up having to be circumcised because the penis got infected and they had to pull it back and pull the foreskin back and clean around it and everything, and that cottonwood got stuck in there. And from the research that I did, again, the easiest, simplest advice was you just clean it like a finger. And I was like, well, that pretty much sounds like every single thing that I read not to do. And then they had problems with it. My son's penis looks great. I always have my doctor check it all over, make sure that, because I don't have a penis, so I don't really know anything about it besides the obvious function. So I always ask my doctor, I'm like, well, is this okay? How are you supposed to lay it in there? And all this stuff. And he just kind of chuckles at me and he's just like, you don't have to do anything with it. I'm like, okay. I keep thinking that you have to do all this stuff. and you don't. You just clean it like a finger and it will be fine. Okay, so anyways, so after all of that rambling, with the decision to, we would have with my daughter, the decision not to with our second child, which ended up being a boy, turned out to be the best decision. Now, if he ends up having to do it later, then it'll just have to be done. If it is medically necessary, or if he wants it done later, then go for it. He can have it done. And I know I've watched a lot of the controversial parenting tag, and circumcision is one of like the questions on that one, and so I love watching those to get people's opinions on things. And again, it's kind of like the pacifier debate that I talked about in an earlier video, or like the breastfeeding formula debate. People are pretty passionate about what they choose for their child, and for us, since we didn't have a really good reason, then we chose not to do it. If you have a good reason, whether it's religious reasons or medical reasons, then do it. There should be no judgment on anybody, and hopefully we will live in a time where judgment is not passed on people for just silly little things. But yes, anyways, getting attacked by a mosquito. Anyways, sorry. So that is basically it, everybody. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, please leave them below. Otherwise, this was a really good decision for us, and I hope that my son appreciates it in the future. Again, it was the websites and stuff pretty much had our decision made, and watching videos on how they actually do it, just if a procedure does not have to be done, then just don't do it. Anyways, so if you agree with me or disagree with me, please leave a comment below, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.